live chat on the online platform to catch up, and then we'll get straight into today's live chat. Hope you're all safe and well out there. This section gets edited off the video for those who are watching at a later date. And there we go. Skip the ads. There we go. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to live chat number 16. Hope you're all safe and well out there, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Brooks's Base Corner. Like I say, this is live chat number 16. It's been a while since we've done one, so this is the first in a run of live chats that we're going to do on Monday evenings, or at least the evening here in the UK. And hopefully I can try and impart some wisdom and talk to you guys who are very kindly subscribing to the channel and watching the videos and inputting with comments and following the channel on social media as well. So I hope you're all safe and well out there. Like I say, this is going to be the first of a run of Monday night live chats. So let's see, I think there's probably about 10 Mondays going forward where I don't have a gig on a Monday night, so it seemed to made sense to do Monday night live chats rather than trying to do them at weekends when people are busy. So I think there's 5 booked up in the calendar, and if you go to the live chat playlist on the channel, you'll see the next 5 already queued up. So if you enjoy this live chat and you want to take part in other live chats or follow what we're doing here on the channel, then by all means go on to one of those videos and you can set a reminder on button. So basically it will send you a reminder and a notification, I think on the day of the live chat, or certainly in the hours leading up to it. So if you want to join me here on a Monday evening, you're more than welcome, and it'd be lovely to see you. So for anyone who's new to the channel, I'm Mike Brooks. Obviously this is my channel, Brooks's Base Corner. If you haven't seen anything on the channel before, or you wonder who am I to be talking about bass, I've been playing for 35 years this year. I've done 27 as a professional. I've done almost 4,500 gigs around the world. I'm a writer for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player Magazine, or at least Bass Guitar Magazine up until the point it was embroiled into Bass Player. That happened, I'm trying to think, the years keep flying by, COVID hasn't helped. So 2 years ago, Bass Guitar Magazine here in the UK became one magazine with Bass Player. So basically I wrote for Bass Guitar Magazine from 2004 up to 2020, and now we're in Bass Player Magazine. So, and what a legendary magazine that is, celebrating its 32nd anniversary this year. I think possibly if you even went back to the very first issue, you're looking at 1988, 89. So you can add an extra year on there if you wish. So that's kind of what I've done. A lot of gigs, traveled a lot of miles, played a lot of basses, played a lot of gear. If you follow the Facebook page for Brooks's Base Corner, or if you follow my own individual Facebook page, you'll have seen various reviews and features that I've written over the years. That content is there on my own page, but I'm sort of slowly pulling it across onto Brooks's Base Corner on Facebook. So if you want to check any of the stuff out that I've written, interviews with the stars, the latest bass gear as it came out, pedals, basses, amps, features, columns, classic bass albums. I mean, if I go through the hard drive of all the stuff I've written, there's about I think there's about 700 articles. So that's kind of my story. So the whole idea of Brooks's Base Corner is, okay, it's another bass channel, but I'm reviewing gear. I'm looking at essential bass albums, things that I think you should consider listening to. equipment, accessories, there's reviews, there's demos, there's interviews with various bass Illuminati, and anything to do with bass, I'll be covering it. So at the moment, there's about 200 videos up on the channel, and there's a lot more coming. And for anyone who's a regular supporter or subscriber to the channel, I know things have been rather quiet the past 6 months. There are a bunch of reasons for that, generally work related. So as we've come out of COVID, I've been very involved with getting gigs back on the road, and invariably playing with a lot of different bands, which then involves learning the material and the songs, and that takes time. And I can't, you can't fast track that. You have to put the hours in to do it, which has meant the YouTube channel has been a little quieter of late. But hopefully that's going to be remedied starting this week and into next week, and we will get the ball back up and rolling. So hopefully there'll be 2 to 3 videos every week coming out now. And there's a whole bunch of stuff backlogged, ready to go. But I had to wait until there was a prime moment to start redoing the videos. So today is kind of the first video in that chain. So hopefully you'll enjoy this live chat video, and you'll come to others over the next couple of Mondays. So hello, welcome. Hello to all the subscribers. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for all the people who donate very kindly to the channel via Super Chat. If you're obviously watching on the desktop app, I'm not sure if it's the same thing on the mobile app, but on the desktop app, you'll see a chat window on the right hand side. I've got my screen here so I can see what's going on, and you'll see 3 icons there. You'll see an emoji icon, a dollar sign, and a poll sign. If you enjoy the channel, enjoy the videos, enjoy any of the content, you can donate to the channel. So any money that gets donated to the channel, yes, it comes to me and the channel and what I'm doing here, but it will get spent on things like new equipment, studio hire for future videos, buying some of the items that you see reviewed and demoed, and just trying to keep the channel up and running. I see this as a long-term project for a very long time to come. So any financial support you wish to throw at the channel is very much appreciated. And let's see, if you wish to get involved in the live chat here, in that chat window on the right hand side, you can post messages. I see them as they come up, and what we'll do is I'll do what I normally do on this live chat, which is tell you what's coming up on the channel, reviews and interviews and demos that are just about to launch. You can post comments, suggestions, anything you'd like to talk about. If I can help you in any way with my bass experience and all the gigs I've done, if you've got questions about gear, how to be in a band, how to run a band, how to write for a magazine, how to run your own YouTube channel even, anything that you would like to discuss, stick it in that chat window and I will come back to you once we've gone through the housekeeping for the channel. So let's have a look. I've got a list here of things I need to talk to you about. So new subscribers, if you wish to follow what the channel does away from the YouTube channel, we're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Links for that you'll find in the description box underneath this video, and also anything that I mention regarding bass content that's already on the channel, you'll find links to that in the description box as well. If you're enjoying this video in particular or any of the other content on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's very much appreciated. If you hit the notification bell, that will then notify you when I upload and release new content. And also, if you like individual videos, then by all means hit the thumbs up icon, and that just shows that you enjoy the video and the content in that video. Again, all of that is very much appreciated. There will be a membership section for this channel very soon. I've had to spend some time thinking about it and how it would work in the context of what I deliver here on the channel. Still trying to decide whether we're going to do a tiered option. So obviously maybe have 3 tiers, and the There'll be the bargain basement tier, the middle tier, and the upper tier with different rates. But I need to work out what content I can offer in relation to that. There will be news about that soon. And if you keep watching the community tab here on the channel, basically the community tab is now the social media section of YouTube. So for our channel, if you click on community, any messages that I care to post, or images, or links to videos, or links to content on my channel or other channels, you'll find it all there. And hopefully I'm going to be in a position now where I can update that on a daily basis. So channel news, what's coming up? So like I say, from today, this is the first of about 10 live chats that are going to be on Monday evenings at 8 p.m. UK time. If you care to join me, you're more than welcome. Get involved in the chat. Let me know anything that you're interested in discussing. Any ideas or comments regarding equipment or interviews or items you'd like to see reviewed or demoed, let me know. I'll come back to you as soon as I can. There is a whole bunch of pedal reviews pending. I filmed those last week, just working my way through the editing process at the moment. So I'm trying to bulk store a whole load of content so there aren't these large gaps between each video. So if I can create literally, if I can have 5 to 10 videos ready to go, then I can start to release them on a more consistent basis for you guys out there. There are also several demos, bass demos still to go, but there's also a load of new bass reviews as well. So the last week or so has been a lot of photography and a lot of editing and thumbnail creation and keyword research. So for people who don't understand all of these components, these are all elements that you have to consider when you're uploading to a channel and creating content, and that is so time sapping. Thankfully, I was able to create a lot of the content that you see on the channel while we were in lockdown. The challenge has been, as we've come out of lockdown, suddenly life has kind of gone back to normal in terms of gigging and life generally day to day, but that doesn't give you a lot of time for creating content. So again, that is another reason why some of the videos have been a bit slow to appear lately, but there is a lot ready to go. So stick with me and you will see all of those videos appear very, very shortly. Bass news, there is some bass news behind me. You will see a GB 4-string bass. This is my 50th birthday celebration bass. I recently turned 50 years old, and I'm a big fan of GBs. I have several in the rack here behind me, and this bass was a demo model for Bernie Goodfellow, demonstrating his Rumour basses and his Spitfire instruments. This is a rather special instrument. This is one of only 2 or 3 demo models that were built prior to the Rumours being launched, as far as I'm aware. Bernie will contact me if I'm wrong. It also has the GB sound to light system. So these LEDs do lots of wild and wacky things when they're plugged into an amplifier, and they have various settings. So on another video at a later date, I'll put a link in the description when I get round to doing a demo of this bass, and you'll be able to see everything it's capable of. But this has been a rather special purchase for me. I'm very pleased to own it as well. Okay, products coming up. There's going to be some workshop videos. So when I first launched the channel 2 years ago, there were several workshop videos where I showed you how to install a set of shallow strap locks on a bass, how to apply linseed oil to a rosewood fingerboard, and I think there was one other. There was one other. It was the changing strings on a Fender Precision. I haven't done any workshop videos since. However, now that we're back out working, gigging, the bass collection now needs setting up, as well as being asked to set friends' instruments up, make them play better. So you're going to start seeing some more of those workshop videos appear. What you're going to see in those videos is lots of items that I need when I'm cleaning guitars and repairing them and setting them up, but also they're items that you guys out there might find very useful. You certainly don't have to buy them all, but some of them here and there, they certainly might make keeping your bass in tip-top condition a whole lot easier. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. Most of it's all in the workshop at the moment because I've been doing bass setups for 2 days, but these I think are really good products. Now some of them are by Ernie Ball. The ones that are in the workshop are by Music Nomad. So you're going to see things like polishing cloths and waxing cloths and detail cloths and various chemicals for cleaning your bass and cleaning the fingerboard, bringing up the shine, reducing scratches in the way the instrument looks. So I'm going to show you one thing first. So this is an all-in-one guitar maintenance kit by Dunlop, and this is a really great purchase, I have to say. It's very easy. You can just buy individual bottles. You can buy them at your local guitar store. You can buy them on Amazon, various online retailers. I've been getting a lot of mileage out of this set, a lot, just lately. So in there you have a deep conditioner for the fingerboard. You have a cleaner and prep spray. So you use that first on the fingerboard before you start conditioning it and sort of, let me think, how can I put it? You're basically cleansing the fingerboard, and although you're not moisturizing it, you're conditioning it. It helps the wood to maintain its luster over time. There's a string cleaner in there, string cleaner and conditioner. There's a separate guitar polishing cleaner. And then there's also, in the green bottle, some stuff called Cream of Carnauba Wax. Now this stuff I've been using on a couple of basses lately, and I've been astonished by the results. They've actually made a couple of basses that were dinged and scratched and not looking in the greatest of health. They've actually restored the shine, or that product alone has restored the shine to gloss finishes. So you will see some videos very shortly making use of these products. On top of that, I have invested in one of these, which is the Ernie Ball Musician's Toolkit. I have all my own tools. I've got various bits and pieces in the workshop for what I need to do. However, I found myself more and more, since we've come out of lockdown, being on gigs where either guitar necks or bass necks are moving and altering, or I've needed to make adjustments. Now, I've always carried a few things in my gig case and gig bag, but it's got to the point lately where sometimes I'm not taking my whole gig case. I'm trying to travel light as much as possible on gigs, especially on festival shows, where if we don't have any crew and you are basically responsible for everything, you simply don't have time or space to be carting loads of stuff on stage and getting it off again quick. This toolkit is going to save me a whole load of grief, because basically I can keep it in my my sort of general bag that I carry bits and pieces around in. But this will have all the tools that I need for doing a quick setup, string change, clean up if it needs it. If I'm doing, for example, a couple of gigs in a day, the bass could end up looking really grotty and sweaty if it's hot, and this will allow me to clean it up. But I've been really impressed with this and what's in it. So this has been traveling with Mr. B of late. So there's going to be those products, and you're going to see some of the stuff from Music Nomad as well on these setup videos. So that's all good. Okay, reviews and demos. What have we got coming up? If you followed the channel for a while, there was quite a lot of output in the autumn of last year, and then through into the new part of this year. A lot of those were soundbite demo videos. So for anyone that doesn't know, when I do a review video, it's a longer form video, which can take anything between 8 and 12 minutes. The soundbite videos are basically short snippet demos without all of the review content. They're basically giving you guys out there an idea of what the instrument can do and how it sounds. As a result, that video is much shorter. That might only be 4, 5 or 6 minutes long. Because there was so much soundbite content going up, I didn't do the review videos for those instruments. So those are going to be coming through in the next couple of days, and over the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to find there's a load of review videos for instruments that the demo videos are already there. So they're different. There's different content. The soundbite demos have drum machine backing, looper pedal backing. The review videos don't. So basically that's a warts and all clean bass signal running through the audio interface. So it gives you a complete idea of how that bass sounds. I try to do as many EQ options and pickup options as possible so you can see the full gamut of tones available. So there will be those coming up very shortly. Now let's have a look. So if you guys out there who are currently watching the video, and I can see you in the corner, there's a couple of you out there. If you've got any gear questions, anything you'd like to ask about basses and videos, pedals, amplifiers, accessories, or anything that's on the channel already, or if you've got any suggestions for stuff you would like to see, then now's the time to enter the live chat and let me know if there's anything that you'd particularly like to see. There's a lot of new gear coming out as we come out of COVID and the lockdowns. A lot of the manufacturers now are starting to get all their plans back in order, where they had to put a lot of stuff on the back burner during lockdown, obviously. So they couldn't release new content, and stuff that was being made overseas simply wasn't getting to them. But now the market is opening up again. There's going to be a lot of new stuff coming out. So I'm going to try and keep you guys up to date on new bass launches, new pedal launches. Again, a lot of this will go on the YouTube community tab. You'll see it also on the social media pages. If there's any bands you wish to talk about, anyone that's followed me here on the channel will know my musical preferences, or if you've got any questions you'd like to ask about any of the Essential Bass album series, feel free. I was hoping with these live chats being on a Monday evening, that if you have been out gigging over the weekend, let's hear your gig stories. Let's hear how you're finding it now that we're coming out of COVID, getting back on the road, touring, doing your weekend gigs, whether they're functions, pub gigs, festivals, corporate events, weddings, bar mitzvahs, Masonics, every sort of gigging event. If you want to talk about anything, or if your gear has gone wrong, or if you'd like some advice, maybe you've been in the middle of a gig and suddenly thought, I need to solve this problem. If, for example, your strap button has fallen out and your strap has suddenly decided to leave your bass and your instrument has suddenly plummeted to the ground, feel free to send me a comment here, and we'll try and dissect it for you and get you back out on the road working in time for next weekend. You wouldn't be the first person whose strap button has fallen out, I can assure you. It's very humbling when it happens, but it happens to all of us. And I've had it happen on several different bases at different times in my career. There's always a solution, and it doesn't happen very often, thankfully. So yeah, if you want to discuss your own gigs, if you want to talk about gear, talk about songs you're playing, songs in the set list, new material, stuff from the charts. I've been getting a lot of song lists through from bands who I've been depping for over recent months, and there's suddenly appearing a lot of not so much current, but material that's been around for 2 or 3 years while we've been in lockdown, and it's starting to make its way into band sets now. So it's good to see new stuff coming out, but for a lot of us who've been doing this a long time, suddenly these are songs not only do you not know in terms of how to play them, you just generally maybe not heard them at all. And also where we've been out of venues and not playing, we haven't heard what DJs are playing to the general public. So one of the things I need to do now over the next couple of months is find out what these new, I won't say hip, that's not the right word, but these current tracks are that are finding their way into various bands' playlists. If you've got any questions regarding mag writing, I touched on it at the start of the video. So I was a writer for Bass Guitar magazine here in the UK from 2004 up to 2020, when the magazine was amalgamated into Bass Player magazine. And I'm now a writer for Bass Player magazine. So if you've got any questions about stuff I've written, famous bass players I've interviewed, any of the gear that I've seen, any of the reviews I've written, if you want to know how to do it, how to get into it, and kind of what's involved, what are people looking for, I'm more than happy to sort of divulge my experience, and you know, by all means, if I can help you guys, then that's what I'm here for. And then if you've got any questions about the YouTube channel, anything about the content, anything about video production, video editing, just ask away and I'll happily try and help you out. Just going to check something because there are very few messages appearing, and I just want to check that a setting hasn't been changed, because at the moment very little's coming through. Just bear with me a moment. I will edit this chunk out of the video that gets uploaded for future consideration. Let's just check. Okay, Peter Hammond. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us. What is my preferred string gauge and type and brand? Okay, my preference at the moment, currently, is for Rotosound strings. I've been an endorser for 7 years, yeah. And Rotosound were actually the first brand and make of string that I bought when I bought my first bass back in 1988. And at the time, there weren't a million string brands to choose from like there are these days. You were kind of limited, but you could choose different gauges, different metal types. Obviously we didn't have the internet back then, so trying to buy stuff from America was a little tricky if the stores in London and in the UK didn't stock anything. And the very first set I bought was a set of Rotosound swing bass. They had a picture of John Entwistle on the back. I think I went with 45 105 gauge, as I recall, and I had a Marlin Sidewinder bass, which at the time was quite a cheap bass here in the UK, but Marlin as a brand got a lot of people into playing guitars and basses, so that was my initial foray into bass playing. And over time I've tried various brands. I then used Bass Center Elites for a number of years. I then used Rotosound again. Then I had an endorsement with Piccato strings. They were based down in Wales, and I stayed with Piccato for, now that was a long time, 18 years. And I did thousands and thousands of gigs with their strings. And then the company kind of wound up its operation because of, I think some of the staff were getting older, and I think there was something to do with the lease on the property that they were based in. And I think a load of their string machines were bought by Rotosound. So there's probably a few strings at Rotosound headquarters that are winding the same strings that I used to have from Piccato. The brand name Piccato, I think, is still now owned by Strings and Things here in the UK. So it might well be there are Piccato strings out there to be bought. Whether they're the same build type, if they're sort of wound the same way as they were when they were based in Wales, I don't know. But when I found out that Piccato were probably winding down, I went on a bit of a string search and spent a lot of money, probably about £350 on various makes, gauges, materials. When I say materials, we're talking steel, nickel, you know, tape wounds, flat wounds, half wounds, ground wounds. And because I've got a considerable number of different basses that I use for different shows and different purposes, different bands, I used a bunch of different gauges and materials by different companies on different basses. I've always believed that if you try and stick to one brand and one type of string and use that on all your basses, it's a little blinkered. It doesn't work. You know, I've got certain basses that sound better with flat wounds on. I've got certain basses that sound better with half wounds on. There's a couple of basses that sound better with like my acoustic basses sound great with bronze strings. So there's nothing to say you have to stick to one brand. There's nothing to say you can move about and use different brands. But I just found for consistency of string, consistency of quality, the number of gigs I was getting out of a set, and at the time I was doing a lot of work with this Status Empathy here to my left, your right, and that was the, if you like, the test bass. But when I kind of decided which brand, what type of strings I wanted to carry on with, I basically put 3 or 4 different types on, gigged the bass heavily. I was doing 4 or 5 gigs a week at the time. And from that made my decision, and the Rotor Sounds just came out on top. So for me, the way I play, the material I play, how I like my strings to feel, how I like them to last, Rotor Sounds came out on top. I get on very well with Jason at Rotor Sound, and they stand by me. You know, they help me out, help out with the channel now and again, and I'm very happy to fly that flag. That they work very well for me and the basses I've got. There are a couple of basses in here that don't have Rotor Sounds on. I found another manufacturer's half wounds got the feel and sound that I wanted on that particular bass, and that's fine. That's just the way that goes. But that bass doesn't tend to go out a lot. It's more of a studio recording bass. So I'm very happy with those. But I did try lots of other great brands, and they were all good. It was just the Rotor Sounds just seemed to come up trumps every time for me when I was doing that that experiment. So thank you very much for your question. Oh, yeah, okay, you've replied. Let's see if there's some more. Okay, I've bought Elites in the past and Rotor Sound, but currently like Dunlop Super Bright Nickels 4505. But I have a set of DR high beams waiting. That faded out there. Let's do that again. You got a set of DR high beams waiting when these wear out. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I had some Dunlops. Had some Dunlops when they first came out in about 2006. And they were what we called in the magazine field test samples. So basically they were just launching these strings and they wanted people's opinions on what they thought. And straight out the box, they were dead. I had a 4-string set of steels and a 5-string set of steels, and they're both dead. And I fed that information back to Dunlop. And then they kind of relaunched again. Now, when would that have been? Ooh. I think it was around 2012, 2013, maybe 2014. And I tried another set and they were much better strings, far more lively, felt great. The only thing, I had a little issue with them in that when I was trying to bend a D string or a G string, it felt to me like the string was rotating. So within its position, it felt like the core and the wraps were rotating underneath my fingers as I was pushing the string up, which didn't work for me. I like my strings to be a little more solid feeling, even if they're lighter strings. So if they were 40/100s, I like them just to have that solidity. It felt a little off-putting that the string was rotating as I was pushing it up, but that could just be me and me being picky. So that's not to say that Dunlop strings aren't really great, and you know, I have no problem with people using any brand of string. If it works for you and works for your instrument, then go for it. Absolutely. Thank you for your question, Peter. If you've got anything else there you'd like to ask, then feel free, because it looks like the chat is a little quiet tonight. I presume you're all having your dinner and probably recovering from the weekend and probably cooling down. As you can probably see, I've got a couple of damp patches here on the t-shirt. Probably wearing a grey t-shirt wasn't the best choice this evening, but we are experiencing over 30 degrees here in London today and over the next couple of days. So point noted to this YouTuber, don't wear a grey t-shirt when it's hot. I won't do that again. But there we go. Peter's asking, is 40 to 100 your main gauge? For many years it was. For many years, so from my bass use is rampant because I've used different basses in different bands for different things. But I used to be in a covers band that was very, very busy. For many years I used Mark King's old 4-string Stingray. Then I moved over to using Status basses, and I had I've still got it here, a Series 2000 headless, which is over there in the rack, and this Empathy 4-string. Then I had a GB Rumor 4-string made for me, which is here, which people will have seen in previous videos. It's in the rack with lights over it. But anyway, that GB4 there was my main bass for a number of years. The Empathy then got resurrected. I didn't quite get on with some things about it. I decided I'd give it a month to save itself, otherwise it was going to be sold. So this was in April 2007, and I did a complete reset up on it, changed the brand of string, changed the gauge of string, adjusted the pickup height, did a couple of other things, and suddenly that bass came to life. And that was my main gigging bass in that band for 8 years after that point. So that bass just preferred 4000s. There were 4505s on it, but it just seemed to do a completely different thing, and it had a slightly slimmer gauge of string put on it. So it just sort of came alive with some 4000 steels on it instead of 4505 nickels. And that's kind of what I stuck with. And I'd used 4000s on most of my basses from about 1991, I think. And then what happened when I moved over to doing to rotor sound, I obviously started experimenting with different strings on different basses and what worked and what didn't. And I found some basses just work better with a heavier gauge. So my Fenders, my Stingray, couple of the other basses here worked better with a 4505. Yet I found my Spectre worked with a hybrid, which was 4565 for the D and G strings, and then a lighter bottom, so 80 and 100 for the E and the A. But it's just experimentation, you know. It's I tried a light set on the Spectre, it didn't work. I tried a heavier set on the Spectre, that didn't work. When I did the hybrid, suddenly, right, now I've got what I need for this bass to work for me. And that kind of sealed it. So if I can impart one bit of advice for any of you out there this evening, it would be certainly don't get into a frame of mind where you stick with one brand and one type of string across all your instruments, because I can guarantee you there will be certain basses that will work and sound better if you just experiment a bit. And I know it's not cheap, and buying strings isn't cheap, but you may find going up a gauge or down a gauge might work. You might find changing string material, so going from steel to nickel or the other way might work. You might find going from round wounds to a half wound to a flat wound. It could open up all sorts of different possibilities for different basses. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with experimenting on these things. And look, if you put a set of strings on a bass and take it to the gig and it doesn't work, rip them off. Use them until they wear out and then get rid, and you know not to go back towards that again. So let's see, Blame Lewis, good evening. I don't know who that is by that handle, but I hope you're well. Thank you very much for joining us here on the channel. Used to love the Billy Sheehan rotor sounds, 110/45 I think they were. No, what you're thinking is 110/43. Yeah, so he has a 43 instead of a 45 to make bending easier, but he goes for the 110 so that when he uses the hip shot extender, the E string doesn't get too flappy. And if you watch any of the Billy Sheehan videos here on the channel, interviews I've done with him over the years, he will bring that point up again, time and again. You know, he was with Rotosound for many, many years. He changed. There were some consistency problems in the late 90s, I think. And he came back to Rotosounds not too long after, when suddenly the quality of the string improved. And that signature set has been on sale now for 34 years, which isn't bad going. And they really work. You know, they certainly work on the attitudes. I've tried them on a couple of different bases. Sometimes that big E string isn't necessarily the best, but it certainly works on the attitude. Yeah, cool. Thank you very much for your question, Blame Lewis. Lovely. Yeah, so if anyone out there is a Billy Sheehan fan, or you love what Billy does, if you check out under the interviews playlist here on the channel, you'll find a bunch of interview videos that I've done with Billy over the years. The most recent one dates back to last year in July. Well, actually, literally a year ago next week, I think, we did a... Now, let's think. We did a 30th anniversary interview for Lean Into It. And we caught up. I'm just removing someone who's been a bit daft. Thank you. And we did a major catch up after lockdown and COVID. And once we did that, we got into a serious chat about 30 years of Lean Into It. The anniversary was last year. And that was backed up with anniversary releases. And there were pieces of information from Billy, and I thought I knew a lot about that album and the tour and the recording of it and what happened to the band after and the big hit. And he was coming out with pieces of information I knew nothing about, had never heard. And a couple of months ago, I finally put that interview video up, and you will find it on the channel. It's a two-parter, and he goes into quite some depth. So if you're a fan of Billy, a fan of Mr. Big, or in fact just a fan of that album, I can highly recommend it. It's a great watch. I mean, he's pulling out just pieces of information I didn't even know that had happened, or why it had happened. And that actually then led on to me being asked to write the liner notes for a new, I think it's like super deluxe box set that's coming out for this album. I'm still waiting to hear from the company, the record company in Hong Kong, as to when that's going to see a release. But I've seen the general idea of what the packaging and the artwork's going to look like, and it's very impressive. But as a result of that interview, I then interviewed Eric Martin and Paul Gilbert as well. So basically all three of them have got their input into the liner notes of that box set. So obviously we couldn't include Pat, but the guys refer to him constantly, which is good to hear. And it's good fun. It's seriously good fun. And actually any time spent with Billy is very enjoyable. So there, if you would like some Billy Sheehan information and Mr. Big information, head on over to the interview playlists and you will find those videos there waiting for you. Peter Hammond, you used the Dario EXL 170s for a while on my Yamaha BB1000, bought in 1982. Well done, sir. And still used occasionally, but found as I played a few less gigs per year, they were a bit aggressive on my fingers. Yeah, and I've heard the same thing of Rotosounds, or people have said that of Rotosound. They can be. Normally, it's just a case of getting your calluses back up to hardness, really. I noticed during lockdown and during COVID, my calluses completely went. And I've always been very careful about not doing like washing up with detergent. I always wear rubber gloves if I'm doing the kitchen duties. But until we came out of lockdown here in the UK, so it would have been last June, July, my calluses were kind of gone, and I was trying to do as much as I could at home to keep them up, but they were kind of gone. The first couple of gigs were a little painful, but I can say sort of a year on, they're kind of back up to full hardness. So it might just be that your calluses aren't where they should be, or you might want to look at it. I think the XL 170s are nickel, or they're steels. I don't know. If they're already nickel, I don't know what to suggest, but if they're steel, you might want to look at using nickel strings because they're a softer metal. Some people can have a skin reaction to nickel, but generally if you find steels just too much, too abrasive, then try some nickels, just see if that works for you. But so again, this is part of the string experimentation. One of the things could also be, and I found this on different bases, is how strings feel and how tight they are and how hard they feel can sometimes be down to the bass, and sometimes it's based on the speaking length of the string, so where it's anchored at the bridge to the point that it's anchored on a tuning peg. I found, it's just my own personal experience, I'm not saying this is gospel or anything, but any bass with a 4 in a row headstock, so typically a Fender or again a Yamaha, I guess, some of those strings feel really hard and like really tight. And certainly on a G string, if it's going to a tuning peg up here, if those tuners carried on in a line, the speaking length of that string is even further. For example, on my alembics, which have 34-inch scale necks, but because the bridge is laid in, they run even longer. And anyone that's played a long scale alembic will tell you, you know, getting to the lower frets, you might need a bus to get there. But they can feel very long and very tight strings. Now, on a GB or a status, those strings don't have that hardness. They feel far more supple and flexible. And there's going to be some videos coming up actually very, very soon. So this bass to my left is getting set up and restrung over the next couple of days. There's going to be a video on it, on how to set it up, clean the fingerboard, do all the things that need to be done. There's then going to be a series of videos, and I'm going to be doing, it's going to be an experiment basically to see how long a set of strings will last on that bass. I know how long a set of strings last on that bass because not long after I started using Rotor Sounds again in 2015, I did this as a test. And I know how many gigs I got out of a set, and it was quite unbelievable. But I want to do it as a set of videos, almost as a humorous thing, and you'll see what the results are over time. I think you won't believe quite how many gigs I'll get out of one set of strings, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, so there we go. Peter, you like nickels? Well, there you go. You know, if you're saying the nickels were a bit too aggressive on your fingers, then I don't really know where else to go on that. You might want to go to coated strings, maybe. Maybe it's how you play. I don't know. Obviously, we haven't had that conversation. Maybe, are you playing, you're saying they were a bit aggressive on your fingers. Are you playing hard to get volume and tone out of your instrument? I'm guessing with the Yamaha BB1000 you might not have been, because they're fairly vocal. Vocal and loud would be a good description of a BB1000. But if you weren't playing hard on the strings, it's something to ponder. But okay, you've moved over to the Dunlops. Great. Okay, if they're working for you, play on, sir. Play on. Okay, anyone else out there with any questions regarding the channel or magazine writing or gear reviews? Otherwise, it's just a conversation between you and I, Peter, and I'm fine with that. And probably go for another 10-15 minutes if that works for you, my lord. I'm just trying to think what else I need to tell you. Okay, at some point in the very near future, there will be a new series of Essential Bass albums here on the channel. The first series, there are 23 videos. If you go to the Essential Bass Albums playlist, you will find 23 videos of albums that I consider to be albums that, if you're a fan of good bass playing and good bass tones and great songwriting, then these albums you'll love. I mean, let's be fair, there's probably thousands of albums I can include on this series and playlist, but there are 23 there already. They came out of a column that I did for Bass Guitar magazine between 2016 and 2018, I think. So they were based on those columns, and it's amazing some of the information when you delve back through certain albums and songs, and you look back and when they were originally recorded and released to the public, and now you're looking at them 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, the impact that they've had on musicians and the public in general. It's quite eye-opening. So I'm looking forward to getting another series of those done. If you've got any albums that you would like considering in that series, please let me know. If you are watching this video, I should say, if you're watching this video at a later date after this evening, I know a lot of bass players out there who actually use my live chats as podcasts, and they listen to them on the way back from gigs. So thank you to you guys who do that. I do see those views occurring in my analytics. But if you're watching this at a later date, if you want to contribute to this, but obviously you've missed the live chat, just stick your comments in the comments section below, and I'll come and watch them and read through them, and I'll reply to as many as I can when I can. But yes, if you have any consideration or albums you think I should be considering for the next Essential Bass album series, then let me know. Peter, you'd be interested in pedal reviews coming up. Okay, right. Well, there are a number of pedal reviews already on the channel. Obviously, none for quite a while. There will be. Literally, where I'm sitting right now, there was about 30 pedals here being photographed earlier on. And I can actually see them all on my desk. So there will be a lot of those. Some of them are my own. Some are pedals that I've borrowed from other people. I'm just having a look to see what there is. Okay, there is a Boss bass synth. There's a Sons amp, one of the original bass driver DIs. There's some EBS old grey label pedals. There's some Ashdown pedals. There's a couple of phaser units. A Billy Sheehan distortion there. There is also some Aguilar stuff. So I'm looking around the camera so you can see what's on the desk. Yeah, there's just lots and lots of pedals. So if you've got something that you'd like to see, let me know. There's a couple of MXRs as well. There's the envelope filter, and I can actually pick those up, I think. Hold on. There's definitely one I can pick up, which is the MXR bass envelope filter. That will be heading your way very shortly. Actually, this is in the box, so I photographed it this morning. So that will be having a review here on the channel very, very imminently. What else there was? There is this pedal, which I think I may have shown on the live chats before, which is a Dan Electro Fab Tone. Now, I know some bass players out there are going to be pulling their hair out going, what the hell is he showing a guitar pedal for? Okay, this pedal, anyone who enjoys Larry Graham's style funk fuzz playing, this is the pedal he now uses for all his fuzz effects when he's out gigging. And the reason I know this is, one, I photographed his pedal board at the Jazz Cafe about 9 years ago, but also I had a conversation with Rhonda Smith, who used to play in Prince's band. She's currently on tour with Jeff Beck. And I asked her by email many years ago, how'd you get your fuzz tone? There was a fuzz sound that she was incorporating with a jazz bass on the Prince album One Night Alone, which was a sort of a retrospective tour that he did back in 2001, 2002. There's a CD box set of it. It's been re-released recently. And we seem to be inundated with an idiot tonight. Not to worry, you will be going. Very good. And she very politely replied to my email, and I said, how did you get that fuzz sound? Because it sounds so Larry Grahamish. She said, well, funny that. He recommended I get this pedal because it's what he uses. So not only did Larry use it, Rhonda was using it with Prince. And that was that fuzz sound. Now, the problem with this pedal is if you don't set it up right, it will basically demolish your house. And I'm not joking, it's lively beyond belief. So you have to be very careful with the settings and how you set it up. How it reacts to bass, I don't know how it reacts to guitar because I've never heard it with a guitar, but with bass, this will, yeah. Earplugs are probably a good idea, but really worth checking out. So there's a video of this coming very soon. And I can highly recommend it, but again, use with care. Don't sort of plow in and just start turning all the dials up to full, because you won't be very popular. But it's got a great bass sound, for, a great fuzz sound for bass. So yeah, so that's a quick rundown on some of the pedals that will be reviewed here on the channel very shortly. And bass wise, there's some Spectre stuff coming, there's some Yamaha stuff coming, some Dingwalls, some Harley Benton, I think there's a couple of Sterling Music Man basses. There's a whole bunch of soundbite videos of my own collection that are on the channel. Again, if you want to see any of them, if you go to the soundbite playlist, you will find them on there. I need to do review videos of those basses, and I just haven't caught up with doing that. So if there's any videos that you see in the soundbite section and you think I'd really like to see like a proper review of it and like to know more information about what's going on and the hardware and the pickups and the circuitry and what have you, again, let me know. Either respond in the comments section of that particular video, or you can send a message via the community tab, or you can contact me on social media on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. And any sort of recommendations or anything you'd like to see, just let me know. And if I can get that equipment, I will do my best to get it in and do a video for you. So we've got about another 3 or 4 minutes. So thank you very much to everyone who's contributed this evening. I hope you're all safe and well out there. We'll be doing this again next Monday, and for quite a few Mondays from here. So if you'd like to be involved, 8 o'clock UK BST, which is British summertime, 8 o'clock in the evening on Mondays, I will be here. If you want to talk about any gigs you've done over that weekend, or any equipment, anything you'd like to see on the channel, if you've got any comments about stuff you have seen on the channel, and you'd like to have a conversation about it, you're more than welcome. If I can help with any of my bass playing experience, if I can give you any advice and help you out, I'm more than happy to do so. And I guess on that note, I'm going to bid you all farewell. Thank you very much for attending. If you're watching this at a later date, if you enjoy it, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get notifications when I post up new videos. And if you can give the video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. And thank you very much to everyone who's following the channel, subscribing, commenting, giving me thumbs up. It's all very much appreciated. And if you're watching this at a later date and you'd like to contribute to the continuation of the channel, at the bottom of the chat window, you'll see there's a $ where you can donate money to the channel, which is Super Chat. And I think underneath this video window, there may also be another $, which is called Super Thanks. And you can donate to the channel if you really enjoy video, and that runs across the whole channel. So any video you watch, if you see the $, you really like it. If you like to contribute to the ongoing content production, I very much appreciate any donations. So thank you very much. Hope you all have a great Monday evening, or Monday morning, or a Monday afternoon, wherever you are. And look forward to seeing you next Monday here on Brooks's Bass Corner. Take care. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye-bye.